Okay, I'm just going to pour some water. So
That sounds like...
Can you hear it?
That sounds like Hilden mineral water. Okay, hang on.
How did you know?
I'm guessing it's...
Are you a frequent member of the Soho Club?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's still and not sparkling.
Is somebody telling you this? Because that's actually freaking me out a bit.
No, I'm just...
Do you know what colour the label is?
White.
No, it's
is it
blue.
blue? Oh, damn.
Almost
Okay.
perfect. Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
My story can never be told. I write it over and over, wherever we find shelter. I write of what I cannot speak. The truth. I write all I know of it. And then I throw the pages to the wind. Maybe the birds can read it.
So that's Byzantium, a little clip from that movie. Delighted to be joined by its star, Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse, hello, good afternoon.
Hiya, Simon, how are you?
We're good and delighted to have you on the show because we tried to get you on for a whole bunch of things and we missed you for the host. So fantastic to have you on for Byzantium. What an extraordinary film. So give us the outline of the story. Tell us about Eleanor Webb, and because there's a lot to talk about here.
There is, yeah. It's quite a detailed story, actually. I mean, technically, it's a vampire film, but it seems to really be more about the relationship between a mother and her daughter. And about 200 years ago, the mother, who was a prostitute and was, dying, and she kind of lived a very kind of base life, decided to steal the right to immortality, basically, and she gave her daughter that right as well. And so they become sort of vampire succreant things, and they live a life of, they just kind of basically glide from one era to the next, and it's quite lonely really for them, but it's very much about their relationship.
Vampire succreant things?
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it.
That's the official terminology?
Because I don't want to just call them vampires, because we never call ourselves vampires in the actual film.
What's the difference between a vampire and a succreant?
Well, there's no difference, really.
Right, okay.
But basically, it's not, it's not Twilight.
No, okay.
It's the other vampire film. Well, we don't have fangs, and we have a little talon instead that grows out of our thumb when we get a bit peckish.
Yes.
And we use that instead. So
it's a fairly terrifying thumbnail that
it is.
That
needs a bit of a file.
Okay, so you're 200 years old,
yeah.
And your mother, and I mentioned that because you've already said it's a mother-daughter thing, played by Gemma Arterton.
Yeah.
Who's what, 8 years older than you?
Yeah, I guess she's about 8 years older.
So presumably in the vampire succreant thing, that works because, are you frozen in time?
Yeah, when you become a vampire succreant thing, you don't really grow old, but mentally she does though, and I think that's what's quite melancholy about Eleanor's character, is that she's mentally she's growing all the time, and she's got this real weight on her shoulders, I think, because she knows really that this is their life, and they'll never really be able to have a relationship with anyone or become close to anyone else. And I think that's kind of the sadness in the story, whereas Clara, she would have been in her 20s when she became a vampire, and I was about 16, but she just kind of wants to move on and wants to forget about the past, but it's kind of impossible to do that, And
a lot of the other stuff that's been in vampire movies, it doesn't really make an appearance. As you said, there's no fangs and there's no garlic, and it takes place in the day. A lot of it, you don't seem to be fazed by any of that. So
yeah, right.
So is there what is the code of this particular vampire story? That you live by, because there are rules, and it's very blokey. It's a male vampire code. It
is, yeah. I mean, I guess there's little things that they do that are quite nice. I mean, the code itself really it is quite classic vampire. It's to live off of human blood in order to have that eternal life. But for Clara, she looks at it as a way to almost get her revenge on men, really, who have messed her about in the past, and this is kind of her way of seeking her revenge, and that's why she decides to do this in the first place. For Eleanor, it's not really her decision to live this life, but she's been thrown into it, and that's kind of the end for her, really.
Yes, and she's trapped, and she doesn't want to lie about it anymore. She's kind of got to the end of the line, but is she an angelic vampire suppliant thing? You know, she doesn't prey like a rotten old mother on young people. She's not trying to get revenge on anything. You wait until people are about to peg it anyway, and then you kill them.
Yeah, exactly. She waits until people are ready to die, so she sort of sees it as an act of mercy, instead of just needlessly taking someone's life for her own, you know. So that's what's quite beautiful about her, is that in a way she is described as an angel at one stage by Sam Riley's character. She'll go into hospitals and things like that, and she can kind of sense when actually older people will tell her when they're ready to die, and she helps them out. So.
You mentioned Sam Riley. He's got a terrific cast. Every time I see Sam Riley in something, I still want him to sing some Joy Division stuff.
I know, just a little bit, because he looks so much like him. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Tom Hollander. Now, I was surprised. I'd read all the stuff, and I was surprised when Tom Hollander turned up, because he's just a joy in everything.
He's so wonderful in everything that he does, and he's so lovely as well as a person. I've actually worked with him a couple of times now, and I mean, I only had, I think, one scene with him in Byzantium, but every single thing that he did was right. It all just worked. It was so natural, and it was such a different character to the other character that he played in Hannah as well. So so it was great to work with him again. He just brings a kind of magic to the screen, I think.
Yes, and the one other aspect, I think, which is going to make people scratch their heads and go, really? Wow, I'm intrigued by that, is your piano playing.
Oh yeah.
Which is stunning, and I assumed while I was watching it that it was shot in a particular way, that makes it. You sound like a concert level pianist. It sounds fantastic. So tell us the story there.
Good. Well, yeah, I mean, I had never played the piano before, and it was always something that I wanted to do, actually. I was always very much drawn to pianos when I was younger, but I guess just because I started working at an early age as well, I didn't really get to do that kind of stuff. And so when Neil said to me that he was thinking about Eleanor, because she's 200 years old, having such kind of high quality skills, like being able to play the piano that well, I was really excited about that. So I had about 10 weeks to learn the piano from scratch, and he gave me a Beethoven sonata that usually takes pianists about 10 years to learn. So no pressure.
Yeah.
But so I did that, and there was another piece that I did as well, and I loved it. I really, really loved it. And on the day, I mean, the piano was a bit wonky and stuff, so obviously they put a recording on afterwards, but I did play it though.
Well, it's the Piano Sonata Opus 2 number 3 or something like that, and
something like that.
I thought it was really, really stunning.
Oh, it's a beautiful piece. Yeah.
No, well, yes, it was a beautiful piece, but your playing of it, you certainly had me fooled.
Thank you.
Was it originally intended as a play? I'm talking about Byzantium here, as opposed to the Beethoven.
As opposed to the Beethoven sonata. It was. It was a play for quite a while, and it was written by Maura Buffoni, who actually wrote the screenplay for us as well. And it was great because she was around for a lot of the rehearsals, and she came on set, and she had actually worked with Gemma before as well, so they knew each other quite well too. But it was just quite nice, I think, to have 3 females be so involved in this film, to have kind of two women carrying the film really, and then to have Moira really create a very original vampire tale. It's very kind of classic. But
and does that make it it has been labelled a feminist vampire film, I guess, because it's you and Gemma Arterton. I don't know, is that how it feels to you? I mean, she spends a lot of her time running around in fishnet stockings and stuff. I don't know. Does that how does it feel to you, Saoirse?
I wouldn't describe it as that, to be honest. I think really people throw the word feminism around quite a bit, to be honest. Anyway, and I don't know if that's to me. I wouldn't say it as that kind of film. I think it's a film about women. I think it's a film about I mean, you know, Clara in some ways is very, very strong, but yes, she is, you know, a lady of the night, and she does kind of run around in heels and things like that, and she does it in a very kind of cunning way.
Yes.
But that's the way, you know, some women have had to get by, quite a lot of women. So I think it's very interesting just to see the contrast between these two characters as well, that are so close to one another and have grown together, but they're very, very different, and their morals are very different.
Had you worked with Neil Jordan before? Because he, of course, did Interview with the Vampires. He's going back to doing the vampire world, but had you worked with him before?
I hadn't, no. I mean, Neil's Irish and I'm Irish, so for the last few years we had been trying to find a film to do together, and we just kind of hadn't come across anything, and then he brought this to me, and I really wanted to work with him anyway. And when I heard as well that it was going to be about vampires, and just because of his history with all that kind of gothic stuff anyway, I thought it would be brilliant, you know, and I think he did such a good job, and it's so nice to see him going back to that sort of stuff now, like you say.
Is your head permanently spinning, Saoirse? I mean, since Atonement, you've done such extraordinary work, and you mentioned Hannah, which we talked about a lot on the programme as well, which was a fantastic piece of work, and everything that you're in, you seem to dominate. Now you're going to be working with Wes Anderson and Kevin MacDonald and Ryan Gosling. I mean, everything is sort of lining up for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really great, I have to say. You know, I started when I was about 10, and it's kind of been non-stop since then. And I've been very lucky in the fact that I've loved every single project that I've done. I think it would be a bit of a waste of time if you were investing yourself into something that you didn't really believe in, you know. So I've been very lucky just that I've kind of had those great experiences from such an early age as well. But it's great, you know. I mean, it's my life now. It's kind of, it's normal for me now. But sometimes it's mad. Like I mean, I was in LA for the host, and it was just nuts the whole time. It was so busy, and but it's great, you know, it's very exciting. And, you know, you mentioned Kevin MacDonald there, and that's a film that's coming out this year, and that's something that I'm really excited about as well. So
that's How to Catch a Monster.
That's How I Live Now.
Oh, How I Live Now, and How to Catch a Monster is the Ryan Gosling.
Is the Ryan Gosling one, yeah.
It's great to catch some time with you, Saoirse. Thank you very much indeed. All the best for Byzantium.
That's all right. And Simon, before I go, I have to let you know that there's a really good friend of mine called George who listens to your show every single week, and he was overly excited that I was on the show today, so I have to say hello to him.
Well, thank you, and George, thank you very much indeed for explaining everything to Saoirse. And Saoirse, thank you very much for being friends with George, and we'll certainly welcome you back anytime and bring George along next time.
I will. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you, Saoirse. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thank you.